Hello, and welcome to the first and probably last installment of Story Time. This is for children. Uh, I've got a short children's book here to a story to read to you. And if you have artistic talent, think about how you might be able to maybe illustrate this particular tale. I'm looking for an illustrator. It's a story about life, about hope, about dreams, and about a four-legged critter who has large aspirations. So without any further ado, let us begin this tale. Life can be like music. It can be good, it can be bad, but that's not always true. Sometimes it just depends upon the ear of the listener. Not everybody hears or likes what everybody likes, and that's okay. That's why there are so many opportunities for us to find those things that intrigue us. That is why we work to practice and improve those things. That is why we strive to display the music of ourselves. Not everybody will like what we write, sing, post, or say. But sometimes a cat's just gotta play. Hence the tale of Scatavarius, the feline fiddler. Now you know that the Scatavarius violin is considered one of the best violins ever made. There is a place where cats live life and populate the soul earth life. They live and play and love and pray and look forward to another day. 9 lives are great if you live them right, but even some felines will cat into the night. But most, like people, try to balance their lives, each and every 9 lives. Welcome to Littertown. I know, not a great name for a town, especially for a cat town, but it is a pretty accurate representation of where we are beginning our story. At least it's not called Litterbox, because that would be real crappy. Stupid cat. He didn't even have a name. It happens in Littertown and a bunch of other cat towns. A cat has to find someone to love them in order to give them a name. But he is our protagonist, or procatanist. Explain that to your kids. This four-legged critter had no clue of where to go or what to do. He had no name and had no home. He roamed the streets of Littertown like other strays, all alone. But he knew no difference. It was all he knew. The cans of garbage and the unknown goo. The rain was his shower and the wind was his towel. The day was his walk and the night was his stalk. This four-legged critter had no clue of where to go or what to do. Until one day, pawing down a back alley, searching for lunch, this outcast cat stopped suddenly and hunched by an open window. This was odd because there was before him an appetizing morsel of a decomposing rat sprawled behind an old hat. But as he raised his paws to the open window, there was a more appetizing sound streaming from inside. What was that sound? He had heard all the sounds of the streets and the alleys, all the sounds of the days and nights of prowling, but never a sound such as this. For the first time in his cat memory, he closed his eyes and twerked his yellow head closer to the open window. Forget the tasty rat. He desired to devour this wonderful sound. This Nameless cat stuck his head through the window and looked into the room. There were 3 cats sitting on chairs, Tabby, Tiger, and Calico. They all had strange toys on their shoulders. They all had strange toys in their paws. They were all focused on the Siamese in the middle, a beautiful Siamese with the same toys on her shoulder and her paws. And she was the source of the sound. She spoke to the 3 on the chairs. The violin is where the purr lives. It is our 10th life. The cat in the window flopped his front paws over the sill and listened for an hour as the Siamese taught and led her students into the fantastical world of the Catolin. This is it, he thought. This is what my nights and days and streets and ways have led me to. As the lessons continue, the bows flowing across the strings of enlightenment, this nameless yellow cat from the streets leaped into the melodious tutorial and stood straight up. Excuse me. I have never heard anything like this. I want to learn how to make this magical music, he said. The Tabby, Tiger, and Calico dropped their Catolins and hid under their chairs. Tabby coughed up a hairball. Tiger pulled her paws over her eyes, and Calico tried to hiss, but it was more like a soft, "Go away." The teacher, the Siamese, Miss Cat, however, was more catfident. It was her house. It was her studio. The Catolin is a very special instrument, she said. It is not for every kitten and cat in Littertown. It is for special litters. What is your name, Yellow Cat? An awkward question for this cat. I have no name. My litter was disrupted and abandoned when I was born. I've had no one to name me, but your Catolin, it gives me what I have never had. Teach me, please. Miss Cat smiled, a not too nice cat smile. She tapped her Catolin bow lightly on his head and said, "No name, cat?" "Meow." "No name, no litter, no chance, stray. The Catolin is not for you. Now, scat!" And with that last snarling hiss, Miss Cat drove the nameless cat out the window and back into the world of rats and goo and scats and blues. He was back where he started and back where he belonged. But even an unnamed, unlittered stray cat can choose. After eating the remnants of the rat in the alleyway, delicious, this cat hid behind a fallen sign that lay beside the cat door to the music room. He waited and digested and hacked a few rodent bones till the Catolin music stopped. And he heard 12 paws making their way toward the door. "See you tomorrow," said Tabby. "I'll practice more tonight, Miss Cat," said Tiger. "I'm sorry about peeing on the floor, Miss Cat. I was scared," admitted Calico. The cat door opened, and the Catolin cat triadic carefully entered the street, cleaning their paws ever so often. It was a gooey evening. While Miss Cat was putting away her Catolin, this yellow cat took his chance and made his prance before the door was shut. He found a place where the Catolins were placed and hid himself amongst the strings and bows and curled against an instrument of joy. This would be his own Catolin. This unnamed, uncultured stray stayed in the Catolin studio of Miss Cat, the Siamese, for months. He secretly listened, watched, practiced, and learned how to play the Catolin. It wasn't easy. He made sure that he played softly while Tabby, Tiger, and Calico were in class. But when Miss Cat, the Siamese, left the studio, he was free to play as loud as he could. He just needed to remember to close the window. But one day, he forgot about the window. The yellow cat from the streets was inside the magical studio, bowing and creating Catolin sounds that no Catolin had ever made before. He was lost in the beauty of cat music. But he had forgot about the window. A mistake. Or a Miss Cat. Miss Cat, the Siamese, pranced down the street to her studio and heard the Catolin through the forgotten open window. She flexed out her left paw, taking her kitten mittens off first, and stretched out her claws. Music and self-defense were Miss Cat's priorities, and edged through her cat's door studio, cat ninja style. And she saw him, his eyes closed, his cat mouth smiling, bowing his Catolin into multitudes of melodies that she had never heard or dreamed of. The sounds were of the days and nights and the streets and the alleys. They were of the heart. They were of things never had and things hoped for. And he saw her too. Another awkward moment. "You play well, no-name cat," she said. "You taught me well, Miss Cat, even when you didn't know it," he said. "I'm not wrong often, no-name cat," she said, pouring dry food into a glass dish and sliding it over to him. "But you do have a name." The yellow nameless cat with a Catolin looked at the food, Miss Cat's generosity, and the triptych statement. "I don't have a name. No one loved me from the beginning to give me a name. And it's okay. I have my Catolin now," he said, looking at Miss Cat. Miss Cat, the Siamese, gave a smile. This time, a nice smile for a cat, and said, "Sometimes it's not our beginnings that define us, but what we become and how we became there. You have crafted the Catolin into something that comes from where you came from. I will name you, nameless cat. This Catolin cat studio, so full of 7 years of music, was so silent now. A perfect silence. She said to the nameless yellow cat, "I name you after the way I treated you, and for the way you would make the most elegant Catolin sound if you had played a Scatavarius. I name you Scatavarius." A cat has to find someone to love them, to give them a name. It looks like someone just did. The end. All right, if you think you might be able to send some illustrations from some parts of that tale, I'd love to see them. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed it and hope you're having a good day. 14:55. I'm going to close this before 15.